This podcast, including all discussions and examples, is for informational purposes only and does not constitute professional advice. The views expressed in this podcast are solely those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of any government agency or company. Today, we're sitting down with Scott Williams, Vice President of Defense at Wing Group, to hear how his 25 years as a Navy SEAL Master Chief shaped his approach to innovation and how Wing Group's family of companies is advancing life-saving technology for the warfighter.
Welcome back to From the Dive Shop with ADS. I'm Patrick Shipp, and today I've got with me Scott Williams, Vice President of Defense at Wing Group. Scott, welcome aboard. Thanks for coming in to see us today.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to a great conversation.
Oh, man, me too. You know, we spent a little time getting to know each other last week, and you gave me a ton of good information for our listeners and our viewers. Just real quick, you know, retired Navy SEAL Master Chief, 25 years in the teams. And before we get into the Wing Group and some of the great stuff that you all are doing, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
So I started out, I grew up in Maine, living in the outdoors, skiing and water skiing, a lot of time growing up on the water and on a lake. And then it came time to figure out whether I wanted to go to college or do something better. And I joined the Navy instead. And
right.
So we went down along those paths. Back in that day, nuclear power was the big piece to get into. And so I signed up. And went along with that for about 12 weeks. And at that point, I made a career choice. It was nuclear power was not going to be for me. It just wasn't going to fulfill what we wanted to do. And I went over and I talked to a recruiter by a guy by the name of Master Chief Jack Saunders, and told him I wanted to do something with my body instead of my brain, or not as much of my brain anyway. And he said, I had just the thing for you, buds.
Man, that's quite the change, right? From the classroom, probably a lot of math, a lot of science, engineering stuff going on there, you know, a few pocket protectors, to buds, right? And heading out to Coronado. So can you tell us a little bit about that? You know, a little bit, maybe not your whole buds experience, a little bit about your buds experience, and a little bit about your time, you know, in the teams?
Well, at that point in time, I didn't even know what a SEAL was. I mean, we were still super secretive. There was nothing. There was no movies out or anything else. So he sat me down. I watched Men with Green Faces, and
classic.
I walked through that. Perfect movie. And then I took the PT test, and I'm like, I like this. I like the way it's starting. So out to Buds, 1982, I go, and we fortunately made it through. And I had one of my instructors named John Hall, who found out that I had a skiing background and said, you have to go to SEAL Team 2 because that's the best winter warfare program in the service. So off I went. And, you know, I learned a lot of things in the teams, and I think that really shaped a lot of great mentors, really shaped who we were and everything else. Team, it's a lifelong bond, common drive, and working with other people. The variety of jobs at that point in time. Remember, we weren't at war. We weren't going through GWAT and things we were post 9/11. So it was combat swimming in the Caribbean all the way to north of the Arctic Circle.
Oh, that's like two extremes there, man. You know, some of that nice clear water, beautiful days, probably a lot of fun things to do in the evenings, and then the North Atlantic, where it's probably not too warm at all.
Well, you crawl into a torpedo tube on a submarine, and they slowly start to flood it, and that ice cold water just kind of creeps up, and it puts that 20-penny nail right there in your forehead.
Oh goodness,
ice cream headache. And then, you know, the memories with teams that you build not only within the team but with other specialized units. Got to stand on top of Denali up in Alaska with our brother PJs. And just doing some phenomenal events like that really drove the meaning of team moving forward and everybody carrying their weight moving in the right direction.
It's excellent. And so you did that. So 25 years in the Navy on active duty doing that, and then you retired, but you maintained that service. Went on to work up at Natick or a couple other places.
I worked for the Soft Warrior team in Natick. I went over there, and I walked into the office, and there were 3 Army Rangers in the office. So I was the oddball. I was the first SEAL to move into the office. It was gathered a group of people with a very common mission. The 3 Army Rangers and the civilians that worked in that office were doing acquisition at the speed of war. 9/11 had kicked off not far ago. The force was rapidly evolving in the battle space, and they had to develop gear, soldier-specific gear, to keep them alive in that space at the speed of the guys going to war. So it was a phenomenal learning experience.
And that gave you some deeper insight into government acquisition and how they're developing products as well as procuring products. You stayed there for about 7 years. What did you do after that?
Right after that, I left. So I left to make space for another teammate coming in, and it was
selfless.
Oh, it was the right time.
Yeah.
The young lady that came in behind me was going to do far better things, far smarter than I was. She was the nuclear scientist.
Okay.
And so I came out and I started working for a boutique consulting firm in D.C. and Neptune Strategies. And with that team, we got to work with folks like Polaris and develop the family of special operations vehicles. We got to work with folks like Micropore doing the Extend Air products that go into our diving rigs. So being there allowed us to work in a very diverse group of companies, putting together, but still all supporting the warfighter.
Okay. And how'd you end up at Wing Group from there?
So one of the projects that we did while I was at Neptune was the FOBAM project. So Bill Wing had suffered a medical or a health issue, and Andrew Branock came in and bought the company and started to navigate and bring it into the right direction. In 2013, they started chasing the Family of Boats and Motors program along with John Ennis right here at ADS. And so it was through that partnership that we provided some consulting to help develop that boat, move it forward. And I developed a great friendship with Andrew along the way. And I watched him. This goes back to the old adage of say what you're going to do and do what you say. And I watched him for 7 years do phenomenal things and take on a variety of companies and bring them in, all very focused on the warfighter. And in 2020, he invited me to come in and be part of the team. And that brought me to Wing.
Okay. And you were really kind of familiar with Wing Group all the way back to some of your Buds days with some of the craft that they use there in Buds and then what you'd seen in your team time experience. What was some of that you were already familiar with that you saw? And then as you moved into Wing Group, able to see the opportunities to make improvements on those products?
Well, one of the interesting things was right up front when I initially went into Wing in 2013, I looked onto the floor and there was an IBS.
What's an IBS?
Inflatable Boat Small. That is the boat that you see when you look at Bud students and they're running down the beach and they have this rubber boat on their heads, and that is made by Wing. And
I'd hate to see an inflatable boat large.
Oh yeah, that's that could be quite a bit heavier. But this Inflatable Boat Small is, it is a trademark of Bud's, and Wing is a supplier, and so that brought back some good and bad memories. But one of the things with that, and it's an adage, it's the only way you keep that boat and your team moving is if everybody is equally distributed and has the weight. So keep your head under the boat is what we always is our mantra, and it means you're a team and you're pulling forward. So as I looked into the other categories that they were making in at Wing, they had acquired Mustang, and I'd previously worn a Maritime assault suit, which is Mustang made. They make the UDT life vest, which is what we swam with all the way back in Buds in my time. That's been around almost 50 years. So there were a lot of products that I was very familiar with that were all life-saving leaning forward.
It's excellent. And, that it sounds like when you were telling us a little bit about Andrew, he sort of brings that same keep your head under the boat mentality to the Wing Group of staying focused on the products and the people that they're designed to serve.
Oh, absolutely. Phenomenal leader. He reaches in, he sees a problem, and he's just as apt in the boardroom or just as capable in the boardroom as he is when we pull a boat out in a boat locker somewhere and patching it and fixing it or solving problems for the warfighter today.
And you mentioned previously like the FOBAM project, and I know that was one of the first times that ADS and Wing Group had worked together and working to displace existing manufacturers in that space to bring about a better, more reliable product that really meets the Navy's needs. Sorry, the Army's needs in this case. What besides that operational familiarity that you had with Wing, what else attracted you to the company?
Their focus on mission.
Yeah.
It's a very unique organization. If we look at the family, the Wing family of companies, and you started out with the Wing boat, and now it displaced a competitor, and it is the boat of choice throughout the entire armed forces in the U.S. And then you follow that on with the acquisition. There's a company called Patton with us, and they make life rafts. And so Patton is they make everything from the underseat life raft for fighter jets, all the way through the 20-man life rafts that go into the wing wells of our cargo aircraft to 50-man life rafts that go onto the ships. We move over and we bring in Henshaw. Henshaw's over in Wincanton in the UK. And that's a small boat manufacturer, and they make tubes for all the ribs over in the European theater. They make fenders for super yachts. So when we're talking about the diversity of what we can do and bring forward, it is Andrew has put together a group of companies that are all inflatable and life-saving, minus FabTech. We've got FabTech up in Arlington, Washington State, and they're doing windows, doors, hatches, all of that for military boats, tugboats, ferries, things like that. So that's our metalwork facility. And then in 2019, the acquisition of Mustang Survival, which brought in a lot of very common items and pieces of kit that we use throughout the Navy. If you look at any video from a flight deck, you're going to see multiple colored vests. And everybody on the deck has a different colored vest, and they all mean a different thing. A red vest is an ordnance guy. A purple vest is a fueler. Well, we make all the different vests in all the different colors.
And all those vests are life-saving vests, right? I mean, they're all designed to inflate or...
Everything has a life jacket in it.
Yeah, wow.
And they make the ship abandonment. So there has to be a life jacket on board every ship for every person. And so we make an abandoned ship life jacket and the sea dye marker that goes with it. So the sea dye marker, when it hits the water, it disperses, puts a big slick out, and that allows the aid and recovery of somebody in the water.
Yeah. So the maritime focus with Mustang on life saving is critical. And accidents happen. You hear about them in the news sometimes, as well as just having that. I think that bit of like. That safety and that reassurance, right? I got a quality product on, something happens and I go in the water, I'm going to be fine. They're going to be able to find me and get me. One thing that we had talked about last week was some of Mustang's technology, again, that ADS and Mustang worked on, specifically the Radis. Could you talk a little bit about that, how that came about, and what that product does and ways it's being used today?
Oh, absolutely. That is the premier product coming out of Mustang today in the military domain. It started in 2017, 2018. We saw it first time at the SHOT Show in 2018. It was presented out. And what it does, it is a 40 pounds of lift, automatic opening life jacket. It is programmable, so you can set it up in different ways to match your mission, whether it be a manual only, automatic, a helicopter assault force or a boat assault force. There's no other jacket on the market that has that diverse capability in a single piece, it stays up. The way it mounts, it's armor agnostic. So operators change armor all of the time and to fit all of their different missions. So they built this life jacket to fit on everybody's piece of kit. It doesn't matter which armor system. And then if you don't have an armor system, we've got a harness on it that allows you to wear it solo. Its unique capabilities of actuation, it's out of the way. It allows you to access your operator space. What we call your primary job as an operator is lethality, or to be able to repel a force coming in. So you've got to be able to get to all your gear. This is the jacket that allows you to do that. And that was done in partnership all the way along with ADS. And ADS has helped us bring that to the market. And it is widely used across the U.S. and international militaries.
And when you start to look at developing technologies like that, it sounds like you're really trying to replace multiple products. I can't imagine that there just aren't multiple life-saving vests that were expected to be worn, but all of a sudden, you've got a duffel bag of kit and a duffel bag of life jackets because you don't exactly know what the mission set's going to be when you get there.
Well, you've got a dive jacket. You've got a maritime piece that you might wear on a boat. Let's go back to the UDT. The UDT, which was said to be our premier life-saving item, which was worn over the top of your load carriage, now interfered with your comms and everything else that you had going on. And then that jacket has 19 pounds of lift. So if you're wearing armor and a lot of this other pieces of equipment, that jacket may not have enough lift to keep you afloat. So that was the predominantly worn jacket by NSW for the last 50 years. That needed to be replaced with something with a lot higher buoyancy as our missions became more complicated and more complex. Guys were wearing more weight, and if they hit the water, one of the things that we hold very, very dear is if our jacket fails, you may not survive. And that is key. We are that last ditch effort to keep you on the surface.
Yeah, it's a ton of responsibility, going into the products. But it sounds like the Wing Group and Mustang, like that's something you all take seriously. What are some of the things that you all see in the future for products and product development that are going to be there to help both the warfighter and the maritime industry in general?
Well, when we look out at the shifting mission set, you've got now the whole Arctic has been standing up. You've got NORTHCOM. You've got the whole Arctic environment. And so there's a couple of things that are coming into play when we look at that. One is cold inflation. So one of the things that we're working on is when you puncture a CO2 cylinder, it gets very cold very fast. Do all actuators work, and how cold a temperature do they work in? So we have a specialized team that is leading in technology, moving to extend the cold weather parameters of our life jackets. Right now, -10, -20 degrees. But what happens when you get down and your surface air temps are in the -40 range? What does that do to an actuator, and how does that affect inflation and flotation? So those are some of the things that we're getting into. Other things are in the environmental protection with immersion suits and the layering that's going on underneath. If a boat comes out from underneath you and you're now in the water, can you survive, and how long can you survive? Take that piece over, add it to the life raft side of the business, and how can we protect you from the cold water in the floor? Typical floor is just a very light, flimsy piece of material. I can't say flimsy, it's durable, but it's very, very thin, so it will conduct
not
cold
a lot of
right
insulation there. Yeah, going to get cold quick.
So how do we allow you to survive? How do we allow a fighter pilot with his flight suit, what's under his flight suit, climb into that life raft, and how long is he going to be able to stay alive, not going hypothermic? So there's a lot to do in and around cold water immersion, protection, and actuation, which is a little bit exacerbated by, one of the things we talked about last week was PFAS.
Yeah, those forever chemicals. And that kind of changes the game, particularly for manufacturers, because those chemicals are found in so many of the products, and now they're being banned. So they're looking for other things to sort of fill that void around what PFAS is designed to do when it comes to fire retardants and water repellent. I guess it's water repellency in this case.
So the technologies were started out as, we were using C7 technologies, and they were highly water repellent and high POL resistant, petroleums and oils, things like that.
Yeah.
Moved down to C6, that was a little bit less. Now they're going to C0. And so what we're going to start to see is, without that water repellency on the outside of a breathable fabric, if the water covers the outside and what we call wets it out, then you've got zero moisture transfer going through it. So a lot of the folks with membranes, doesn't matter if you've got a membrane on the inside and you're creating that microclimate inside, you're trying to push water out. If that outside membrane is wetted out, you don't get any transfer, and now you feel wet on the inside. My garment's not working, or a lot what we'll get is my garment's leaking. It's not.
It's just the sweat. It's not escaping. Yeah, so all of a sudden that breathable fabric you thought you had, that's changed there. So what are you all seeing in that space? Is there opportunity to find new technologies that can support that, where PFAS is no longer available?
Well, we have we've got our R&D team, and our material scientists are working on that daily. And we're working with, the great big companies, the Millikens, the Gore-Texes of the world, Brookwoods, all of these, DuPont, and what we can do with the Nomex and fire retardancy and that side of it. So we're working with all the big folks to solve that next big problem. But right now, there's nothing that's not going to be harmful to the environment that's real ready for prime time.
Yeah. And that's always tough, making these big changes, particularly something that's been around so long. Everyone's so used to it, and trying to just make a wholesale change away from that. Be good for the economy, though, because you've got to replace all that equipment eventually at some point, and so you'll have the opportunity, I guess, there to sell into those customer sets with the new equipment. I want to kind of switch gears a little bit. We always like to ask our guests, what do you like working what do you like about working with ADS? We try to provide as much as we can, but we always like to hear what you all like about working with us, so we can, share that and improve that as well. Well,
it's an interesting question, and I say because I've been around and worked with ADS since they were a trailer over on Great Neck Road.
Oh, I won't say how long ago that was, but that's been a minute.
It goes back a day or two, and with the customer service team there, and with the whole team working through, and ADS has gone through a lot of transitions over the years and a lot of professional build-up to be where they are today. And I would offer that when I look at ADS, I will invite them into any meeting I'm in. They are an even partner. I made a deal 3 years ago with our Maritime category manager, Jim Brooks.
Jim Brooks, who I believe you told me was also a classmate in the nuke school.
He and I were classmates all the way back in 1981 at Nuclear Power School. And
I did not realize Jim was that young.
Yes, he's a little long in the tooth. Been around for a day or two. And then we went in divergent paths. He went to the EOD side of the house, and it was I think it was about 1988, 89 that we ran into each other down in Puerto Rico, skydiving.
Oh, a lot of call for that in the Navy. Yeah.
So there was there was a good piece there, but when Jim became our category manager and he reached out, he said, "Hey, let's make a deal. Let's go spend time together and learn how as a team I can form and help and develop the ADS team to help us at Wing, And in return, we would go out and support and bring ADS into our supplier or into our customer visits and help inform the customer some of the best acquisition tools that they have in order to be able to get the best gear. And I think that has worked. There's, the biggest disconnect is I've got a whole group of military guys that all need super equipment. And I have a whole bunch of manufacturers that all make great equipment. It's that link, it's that hinge pin in between that makes it all work. And that's that acquisition process, being able to get the right equipment, the right time, right price, and delivered to the right location. And that's the partnership, and that's what I believe ADS brings to the table.
Oh, that's outstanding. That's great to hear. I mean, that's one of the things we pride ourselves on here is, our ability to connect those customers to suppliers. The procurement vehicles are critical. But another thing too is the idea of working with the suppliers based on customer recommendations and trying to help, whether it's improve products or create brand new products. And, we discussed that a little bit around FOBAM and Radis. Any other examples you might be able to share with us?
Well, one of the things that was brought forward, I believe, was a call from the customers going, "Hey, we're having a hard time keeping up with our diving dry suit capability and technologies. Right now, I think with one or two companies leaving the space, there's only one company left standing in the U.S. that provides a diving dry suit, and a bit overwhelming. So that opportunity was brought to us by the ADS team, and we have an inside team that has worked on, developed a brand new diving suit that we'll be showcasing at an event in September, probably before this podcast comes out. But we'll be down at Soft Dive, and we'll be putting a lot of people into it and have that ready for next summer.
Oh, excellent. Now, is that going to be a game changer? Is it going to really? What's the big thing that's bringing to the space?
Well, you've got a team of designers that have made immersion suits in cold water, functional apparel. That's their livelihood. That's what they've done for the last 50 years at Mustang. Everything from aviation dry suits to Coast Guard suits to the Navy MAS and all these different suits. So they were able to bring 50 years of experience in technology and completely change the game when it comes to making a new diving dry suit. And I think what we're going to bring forward is 100% unique. I've never seen anything like it, and I've spent the last 40 years in this space. So our design team surprised me, and I'm super proud of them.
All right, that's excellent. And so we're looking forward to seeing that, at some of our shows that are coming up in the future. We always do Warrior West out in San Diego, and we'll be back here in Virginia Beach next June. When are some times that, our listeners, our viewers can come out and see Wing in the next few months?
Well, we've got first week of December, we're going to be facing our industrial public safety side down at Workboat in New Orleans. It's that first week of December, and that's our tug and barge, our industrial. That's where we take care of the blue-collar workforce with our products, as well as Wing providing all of the tubes on the workboats and things like that. And then we're going to follow that on in January at SHOT Show. We'll be co-located in Caesars Forum with ADS, and we'll have the new dive suit on display there, as well as some of our other new products. And that's going to be a great debut for the team together. Yeah,
that's great. SHOT Show, always a huge event for ADS and the industry in general. And glad you're going to be with us. It's going to be awesome and get to see that. Well, Scott, I really appreciate you taking the time to come down, meet with us today. You're Virginia Beach local, right? So it wasn't too bad a drive.
It's that 25-minute commute.
Oh man, that's great. That's great. I know I used to live up in the DC area, and that was ugly, those commutes. Well, listen, I want to thank everybody for joining us today on From the Dive Shop, and want to remind you, if you see or hear something, or you want to know about some other products, other technologies that are out there, or even some special guests, feel free to leave something in the comments. Let us know, and we'll work on that to get that information for you. So again, Scott, thank you very much. Really appreciate you. And I think you brought something up this morning about how working as a team, and I just want to say, let's all keep moving forward and keep our head under the boat. Thanks a lot.